Hello, my name is Angie and welcome to my little corner of the internet. So today we are going to be doing a book haul, but I want to start off with what I feel might be the elephant in the room, and it's probably nothing to you guys, but I feel like my hair looks absolutely disgusting and I used a new shampoo. So yeah, if you don't like my hair, ignore it. It probably isn't that big of a deal to you guys as it is to me right now, but I digress. We're here. I feel like it always looks terrible. If you have any recommendations for stuff that makes your hair look good, let me know. Now, this is a crazy book haul, especially because I said in my last one that I didn't anticipate really spending any money. I wanted to do a little bit of like a slowdown on my book buying, and I actually did the complete opposite. I actually hauled so many books. I did more spending this time than I did last time. Last time I had a lot of free books, a lot of discounted books. This time me and my husband had went on a trip and I bought way too many, plus I just kept buying, like I didn't stop. With that being said, I do want to make progress on my extensive amount of books. So I do plan to not buy any books at least January through March of 2026. However, if I'm given gift cards or anything, I will allow myself to buy books because February is my birthday, December is Christmas. So as long as it's free, I'm allowing myself to have it, but I cannot purchase any, if that makes sense. You're probably tired of me yapping already, even though I only have been for a couple minutes. So let's just go ahead and hop into the book haul. These are not going to be in order. I barely remember what I've bought in the last 3 months. I could not tell you what order I purchased them in. So we'll just start with the pile that is in front of me right now. Let's go ahead and start off with a couple special editions. So this first one is Wild Reverence, and this is an Owl Crate edition. I actually do not have an Owl Crate subscription anymore. I don't know if it's because I purchased the Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows from Owl Crate at the time that they gave me access, or if it just like went on public sale and I was able to grab it. But I think this edition is absolutely stunning and I just felt like I had to have it. I have not read this yet. I would really love to though, but a lot of people are saying to get more insight into this series or the duology, you really need to read Ruthless Vows first. I absolutely love Divine Rivals to the point that I read it twice because I was anticipating Ruthless Vows, but then some of the reviews really scared me and I ended up putting it off, and now I still have not read it. So I really want to get to it so that I can read this one, which I've heard is like god tier for some people. Now this next one I have read and I did already have a paperback copy of. This is the point where I think I am falling into the buying too many editions category, but I absolutely loved this book and I just felt like I needed a special edition of it because this is one of my favorite books, and that is The Bridge Kingdom by Daniel L. Jensen. This is the special edition that they just kind of put out everywhere, and I thought this was literally so cool. Yeah, I think what really gets me is when they have designs on the actual hardcovers. I feel like that's such a newer concept compared to just the sprayed edges that I feel like I need books that have those, and I've got to stop that. So these next few are actually just book of the months. They're all mixed in, so there's going to be more obviously, but yeah, it's what I have in front of me. So I have Violet Thistlethwaite is not a villain anymore, and I just thought this was so stunning. And honestly, the way that this looks just gives me the same feelings that the Assistant to the Villain covers gave me the first time I saw them. And I actually love Assistant to the Villain. So I feel like I'm going to really love this. I'm not even really sure what it's about. Another thing about me is I go in almost all of my books blind. And I feel like I enjoy them more that way. I know a lot of people say that that's not smart because you're just wasting money on the books that you don't like. But I actually think the opposite. I think if I don't know anything about the book, I have no expectations, So I'm more inclined to really love it compared to if I know everything about it and then go into it. This next one is The Second Chance Cinema by Thea Wise. This is about a couple who decides to go to this movie theater and they actually watch all of their like life or regrets or something on the big screen, and they have to just kind of make life decisions from there. The description I feel like is very vague, and I feel like that is for a very important reason. This one is an Illurio book. Now this is like a sister company to Book of the Month, and this is Thrown in the Dark. I think this is so gorgeous. I am so excited to read this. I've heard a lot of good reviews. I really haven't heard anything negative. This next one is called Her One Regret by Donna Freitas. I at first was quite hesitant when I read this because I was like, oh no, what does this mean? I really do not like when books insinuate like mothers thieving newborns because they can't have their own kids or anything like that. I just feel like that's bad representation for people that deal with infertility. But as I heard some people talk about it, I realized that's probably not what this is at all. And it actually really intrigued me. So supposedly this girl doesn't want a baby and expresses this to her friend, and then she has her baby and then vanishes, and her friend is the only one that knows this information, and I guess it's pretty shady, and it actually sounds really intense, so I feel like I'm actually going to like this one. The next one is Merry Christmas, You Filthy Animal by Megan Quinn. Fun fact, it's also in Kindle Unlimited. This is based after like a very, very loose rendition of Home Alone. There is a first one, but they're interconnected standalone, so you do not have to read the first one to read this one. However, I highly recommend it. The first one is called How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. That is a Grinch rendition. Of course, again, very, very loosely based. They both feel like very smutty Hallmark books. I love it. I give both of them very high ratings. The first one I gave a 5-star. This one I gave a 4-star. So highly, highly recommend it, especially if you love Megan Quinn. I've only read 2 of her books now, but I feel like I'm gonna need to add all of her backlist to my TBR. The next one is called An Academic Affair by Jodi McAllister. I have no clue what this is about. I just saw people raving, and I ended up making it my book of the month for that month. Next one is Twilight. This is the special edition. Fun fact, I actually owned no copies of Twilight, and I actually hadn't even watched Twilight until about 2 years ago for the first time. So I thought it was about time maybe I read it. I'm super excited. I didn't buy the whole case of Twilight because I didn't know if I was gonna like the book versions or not. But I am excited. I really liked that you can turn it one way and get Bella's face, and then turn it the other way and get Edward's face. So yeah, I think that's super cool. I have not had the chance to read it yet. I feel like it's more of a fall-ish winter read, so this may be on my TBR till next year. We'll just have to see if I ever become in the mood for it before then. The next one I have is Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I did read this one around October, and when I tell you, if you love thrillers, this is the one for you. It is so funny and spooky at the exact same time. It is everything I ever wanted. It's about a girl who gets attacked on Halloween, and she finds out that she's going to be living for only a week, and she has a week to figure out who attempted to murder her, or technically is going to murder her, and she spends the week trying to figure it out instead of just resting and caring about her family. And you watch her through this week just losing her memories and losing her mind, and I think it's so intense. I think it's so crazy. It's so funny and so heartfelt at the same time. This was everything I could ever want in a book. So yeah, read it. The next one here is Throttled by Lauren Asher. I don't know what this is about either, but it was like $3 on Amazon, so I ended up buying it. I've got to quit doing that. They have so many sales all the time, and I really don't want to support Amazon. But I feel like it's not hurting anything if they're losing money, and I feel like they lose money when the books are $3. I don't know. But I did buy this. In that same boat, that is The Ones Who Got Away and Adrift. Both of these were less than $3 on Amazon. I went ahead and purchased them. I also went to Book a Million over the past week because we don't have one in our town, and we were on vacation and they had one, and they had those buy 4 for $25 blind boxes, and I've never done that. So I went ahead and picked up a fiction box. They all ended up being like mystery thrillers, but this is one of them, and I actually didn't own any of them, which I'm surprised and I'm excited. This one is called Our Kind of Cruelty, and I have never heard of it, so I'm interested. The next one is called Stalking Jack the Ripper. I'm super excited to reread this. I read it in middle school, and I remember it being spooky to me back then because I hadn't read anything like this. I'm interested to see if my taste has changed because I've still heard a lot of adults say this is really good. So I'm really wanting to reread this. I don't really remember anything about it, so I feel like this is a fresh new book to me. Then I got A Wish for Us by Tilly Cole. I really don't know anything about this one either, other than it was on sale. I've got to quit doing that. Here's another one that if you love thrillers, it's got to go on your TBR. This is Taurus Season by Bryn Weaver. You do not have to read any of her other series to read this one. It is a little bit gory, but it is so funny. She just has a way with words to make you feel fearful and laughing out loud at the exact same time. This was another 5-star, and I'm so shocked I gave 2 thrillers 5 stars this year. I don't really know if I have any more, but I don't read a lot of thrillers all the time. I love thrillers, but they spook me so bad that I cannot just be reading them back to back. So I am actually so shocked I got 2 funny thrillers within the span of just a couple months. This is another one I got off Amazon for less than $3. This is Truth Cursed by Angie Dickinson. I felt like I needed it because the author's name is Angie and my name is Angie, and again, I have problems. This one I got at Barnes & Noble. I am so excited for this. I've heard nothing but great things, and it is called The Raven Scholar. It is thick, let me tell you that, but it just sounds so intense and so interesting, and I just cannot wait to read this one. This is another one I got at Barnes & Noble. It is called It Happened One Fight. I could not pass up this cover. It sounds really cute. Yeah. Also, I feel like I'm going pretty fast through these books just to get through them, but if you guys like longer content, let me know. I can slow it down. I love to yap. So if you want to hear me yap more, let me know. If you like this style, feel free to let me know as well. The next one is one of my newest. This is Best Offer Wins. This is a Book of the Month pick. I saw so many people excited about this. Very interested. I don't know how I'm going to feel. This isn't my typical type reads, but I'm super excited nonetheless. This one I picked up at Books a Million. This is Saltwater. I think this cover is so stunning. Another Book a Million book. This was one of their $5 books. This is called Something in the Hair, and I think that is just the cutest, clever play on words. Another one from Book a Million called The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers. My friend is obsessed with this author's writing, so when I seen that she had signed copies, I knew I had to grab one. The next one I purchased at Walmart. This is Soul Searching by Lila Sage. I felt like I just had to have this when it came out because it was all the rage. I read it. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's good. It's not great. However, when reading it in October, it just felt perfect for that type of mood. I highly recommend if you're going to read this to read this in the fall autumn time. The next one I got at Barnes & Noble. They were selling these for $5, which is literally so rare for Barnes & Noble, and that is The Striker by Anna Huang. I have read this. I think halfway through I was obsessed, loving it. The other half slowed down way for me. I believe I gave it like a 3.5, 3.75. But I still really love to have this because I just think this edition is gorgeous. These next 3 are also L'Oreal books, and I just absolutely love them. This is As Many Souls as Stars. I think the clowns on this cover, honestly, like, this is so pretty. This is one of their prettiest editions in my opinion. This one I read a while ago before it was traditionally published, but I read it on Kindle, so I didn't have a physical copy. So when they did this, I thought might as well. And that is The Wolf King. This is such a great book. If you have not read it yet, you should. And the last one is We Who Will Die. Now, they did this edition, and then they also did a Book of the Month edition of this, and most people said the Book of the Month edition is the best one, and they loved it, and it was pretty, and this one was very ugly. I actually feel the opposite way. I feel like the Book of the Month one is extremely boring, and I actually really like this one. So I mean, you should tell me which one you like more. You should look them both up, or I can just like throw a picture up here. We are to our last stack, I promise. So the next one is A Reaper at the Gates by Sahaba Tahir. This is the third book in the Ember and the Ashes series. I have read the other two. I really, really love them. I'm so excited to get to this one eventually, and I love this shade of green. I feel like more covers should be in this color because I think this is so pretty. The next one is all the rage right now, and that is Alchemized, and I'm terrified, and I don't know when I'm ever going to get to this because I've seen people cry and scream and not recommend it because of how heartbreaking it is, but then I've seen people love it and give it 5 stars, and I know I can handle it, but I am a little bit nervous to get into it because the last time this happened was with this book. I forget the title, I don't know why, and I hated it. I tried to read it 5 separate times and never made it past page 250 because I really just thought it was like trauma porn. Like, there was nothing of value in my opinion. I'm sorry if you loved it. I just didn't feel that way. So I'm worried this is going to be another one of those situations, but I don't know. This next one I cashed in my fetch points for, and I thought it was gorgeous and I needed it, and that would be Cowboy Casual by Holly Renee. I have never read any of her books, but I think this is one of the prettiest covers that I have ever seen, and I also think she looks similar to the girl on the cover, which I think is just such a baddie move. I didn't look at the page length and thought it was a full-length novel. No wonder it was so cheap. But this is Christmas Promises by Mia Elliott. This is a short story, clearly, but I am still excited to read this, and I feel like this obviously is going to go really fast. The next one I purchased with the hopes to read this in October, September time, and that is Kindling. I think this cover is gorgeous as well, but I never got to it, so I think I'm going to hold on to it till next year. Next we have Boss Man, and I bought it for the edges. I felt like I couldn't pass them up, and yeah, I'm getting better, I promise. This is going to be my last book haul for a while. Do you ever get embarrassed just showing people how much stuff you bought? Because sometimes that happens to me. Like, I want to show you guys because I'm like, these are my friends and they have to see my haul. But then on the other hand, I'm like, I'm so embarrassed. I spent way too much money and I have so many books that I haven't read yet. So yeah. But we're getting to the end here. And then I have Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. I have read the Atlas 6 and the second book to that. I liked them, but I forgot them so easily because there's just so much going on in those books. So I really don't know how I'm going to feel about this one, but I am excited to see if this is any different for me. Then we have The Poison Grove by Jill Johnson. Good Half Gone by Taryn Fisher. This is another one I got in the 4 books for $25 at Books A Million. Same situation here. You Belong to Me by Colin Harrison. Never heard of this one either. There's clearly a 4th book around here that I'm just missing. And I probably did miss quite a few in this haul. But yeah, that's my books. Oh, I do have one more. This is my husband's prized possession. I have yet to read this, but this is a 3D printed copy of From Blood and Ash. And I mean 3D printed edges, like they're raised, which I think is so cool. Yeah, this is like his favorite thing, so don't tell him I took it off the shelf. I don't think I'm going to be able to read this copy, and nor do I think he wants me to, just because the pages are cut funky, but the words are readable from what I can tell. I do also own it audibly. Well, he does, and we share an account, so yeah, I'm super excited. I think I got way too many books, and that I am set for the next 7 years. But if you stuck around to the end, thank you so much for watching this video. I am so excited to share my reads with you guys, and just let me know what you want to see next. If not, just feel free to drop a like, a follow, a comment, press whatever things that the buttons tell you to press. I don't know how YouTube works, but thank you for sticking along, and yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful day.